I live in a pretty quiet southern part of Louisiana. Not the city part that you see in movies. I'm talking about the real rural areas. Long dirt roads, swampy woods, and lakes that stretch so far as you can barely see the other side when the fog rolls in during the morning. The kind of place where everybody knows everybody. Or at least they think they do. My best friend Travis lives about 10 minutes down the road from me. We've known each other since we were kids. Same school, same neighborhood, same dumb hobbies growing up. Fishing was always one of them. There's this lake not too far from where we live. It's kind of tucked away behind a long gravel road that most people don't even realize leads anywhere. If you drive down it far enough, you'll eventually hit this clearing with a small wooden dock and a stretch of muddy shoreline where people sometimes fish. Some locals call it Blackwater Lake. Not because the water is actually black, but because it's so dark and murky that you can't see more than maybe an inch below the surface. Anyway, one evening last summer, Travis texted me asking if I wanted to go fishing. I figured I didn't really have much shit going on, so I just grabbed my tackle box and I drove over to his place. When I got there, he was already sitting outside on his porch with 2 fishing rods, leaning against the railing. "About time you showed up," he said, grabbing his truck keys. I laughed and said, "Dude, I got your message like 10 minutes ago." He shrugged and tossed me one of the rods. "Let's go catch something," he said. The drive to the lake only took about 15 minutes. We parked near the gravel clearing and walked down to the water. The sun was starting to dip behind the trees, giving everything that orange sunlight glow. It was actually pretty peaceful. Cicadas buzzing in the trees, water barely moving, the occasional splash of a fish somewhere out in the distance. We set up near the end of the dock and cast our lines. And for the first 30 minutes, nothing. No bites, no movement, just the quiet lake and the sound of Travis occasionally kicking the wood planks with his boot. After about an hour, Travis finally sighed and said, "Man, this shit is boring as hell." I laughed and reeled my line back in. "You're the one who wanted to come out here," I said. "Yeah, but I expected the fish to cooperate," he said. So we just started talking random stuff, old school stories, people that we used to know. And at one point, Travis started telling this stupid story about how he almost flipped his uncle's ATV into a ditch when he was 15. I was laughing so hard I almost didn't notice my fishing rod started bending. Dude, I got something," I said. Travis jumped up immediately. "No way!" My line was pulling hard. Whatever was on the other end was fighting like crazy. Travis grabbed the net while I tried to reel it back in. "Don't lose it," he said, leaning over the edge of the dock. The water splashed hard as something moved beneath the surface. Finally, I pulled it close enough for Travis to scoop it up. A decent-sized bass. Nothing huge, but big enough that we both started celebrating like idiots. "Let's go!" Travis shouted. He held the fish up like we had just won a tournament. We were still laughing, talking shit, celebrating, until we heard a voice behind us. "Evening, boys!" Both of us turned around. Standing about 20 feet from behind us, behind the dock, was this old guy. I hadn't heard him walk up, which was weird because the gravel path behind us is loud. You usually hear people coming along before you see them. The guy looked to be about maybe in his late 60s, early 70s. Thin with a gray beard, wearing these old faded overalls and a dirty brown hat that shadowed most of his face. He slowly walked towards the dock. "You boys catching anything tonight?" he asked. Travis held up the bass. Just this one so far," he said. The old man stared at the fish for a long moment, not smiling, just staring. And then he said something that felt odd. "Big one." It wasn't really that big, but I mean, okay. And then he looked back up at us. "So you two from around here?" "Yeah, we live a few miles up the road," I said. The old man nodded slowly. "Been fishing here long tonight?" he said. About an hour," Travis answered. The guy stepped closer to the edge of the dock, close enough now that I could see his face a little better. His eyes looked tired, but also kind of intense, like he was studying us. And then he asked another question. "You boys come up here alone?" Travis and I exchanged a quick glance. "Yeah," Travis said. The old man nodded again, and then he asked something else. "You staying long?" Something about the way he asked me that made me very uncomfortable. Not aggressive, just strange. Like he was asking more questions than someone normally would. We tried to keep the conversation normal. Travis said, "Probably not too long. Just came out here for a bit." The old man didn't respond right away. Instead, he looked at the lake, and then he looked back at us. "You boys ever fish out here?" "No," I said. The man chuckled quietly. "The lake changes at night." That was the first thing he said that gave me chills. Not because of what he said, but because of the way he said it, like it meant something. Travis tried to laugh it off. "What do you mean by that?" he said. The old man looked out over the dark water again. "Things move out there that don't move during the day," he said. Neither one of us responded. The conversation had started to feel awkward. So Travis said, "Whoa, hey man, we're probably gonna head out soon." The old man nodded slowly, but he didn't leave. Instead, he stepped even closer to the dock. "So where exactly do you boys live again?" Now that question made my stomach tighten. We both gave vague answers. "Just down the road," I said. He kept staring, and finally Travis whispered to me, "Let's get the hell out of here." I nodded, and we started putting our gear away. The entire time, the old man just stood there watching us, not helping, just staring. And every time we tried to end the conversation, he would ask another question. "How old are you boys? You got family nearby? You come out here often?" It started to feel like he didn't want us to leave. Eventually, we grabbed our gear and walked back towards the truck. The old man followed us part of the way, still asking questions, still smiling in this weird, quiet way. And once we got to the truck, Travis tossed the rods in the back and jumped into the driver's seat. I looked back towards the lake. The old man had just stopped near the edge of the trees, just standing there watching us. Not moving, not saying shit, just staring. Travis started the engine, and as we drove away, I looked back one more time through the rear window. The old man was still there, completely still, watching us leave. And at the time, we both just shrugged it off. Figured he was just some weird old guy who liked talking too damn much. But the next time we went back to that lake, we realized something about that man that made our blood run cold. Because according to the locals around here, there isn't supposed to be anyone living near Blackwater Lake. And nobody we talked to had ever seen that man before. About 2 weeks passed after the first encounter with the old man. Travis and I didn't really talk about it much after that. But eventually we just chucked it up to him just being some old lonely dude who liked bothering people. Still, something about him just stuck with me. Mostly the way he stared, and the way he said the lake changed at night. And then one Friday evening, Travis texted me again. "You want to fish tonight?" "Same lake?" I asked. He sent back a laughing emoji. "Yeah, maybe we'll see our old creepy friend again." I remember joking back, "If he asks where we live again, I'm gonna roast his ass," I said. Around 9:30 that night, I drove back over to Travis' place, and we loaded up his truck. The air was warm and thick like most Louisiana nights usually are. The sky was clear and the moon was bright enough that you could see the outline of the trees along the road. The drive to Blackwater Lake felt different at night. Everything was obviously darker, quieter. The gravel road seemed longer than I remembered. When we finally pulled into the clearing, Travis turned the engine off and looked out towards the lake. "You hear that?" he asked. I listened. Nothing. No frogs, no insects, just silence. Probably just quiet tonight, I said. We grabbed our rods and walked down to the dock. The lake almost looked black under the moonlight. The water barely moved. It looked like a giant dark mirror stretching out into the trees. Travis cast his line first. "All right," he said. "All right, let's see if this place really changes at night," he said. I laughed. "Maybe the fish grow legs and start walking around," I said. We spent the first 15 minutes just talking shit about the old man. Travis kept mocking his voice. "You boys staying long?" he said in a fake old man tone. I laughed. "Dude, he was fucking weird," I said. "You think he lives out here?" Travis asked. "I don't know, maybe in the woods somewhere," I said. "Man, if I lived out here, I'd go crazy," he said. Eventually, the fishing started picking up. Travis caught a small catfish, and then I caught one just about the same size. Nothing huge, but enough to keep us entertained. And for a while, everything just felt normal. Just two friends fishing and talking about random stuff. And then Travis suddenly stopped talking. His line was still in the water, but he wasn't looking at it anymore. He was staring past me, towards the shoreline behind the dock. I noticed a change in his expression immediately. "Dude," he said quietly. "What?" I asked. He didn't answer. He just nodded his head slightly. I turned around, and my stomach dropped, because standing about 30 feet near the edge of the trees was the old man. Same overalls, same hat, same gray beard, except this time he wasn't smiling. He was not talking. He was just standing there, staring directly at us. Travis whispered, "You gotta be fucking kidding me." "Hey, you alright, man?" I called out. The old man didn't move. He didn't blink. He didn't say anything. He just kept staring. Travis stepped forward a little. "Hey man, what's up?" he said. Still nothing. The guy looked almost frozen, like a statue. "You need something?" Travis asked. Silence. I felt the same uneasy feeling from before, except this time it felt worse. The guy slowly took one step backward. But he never broke eye contact. Not even for a second. "Dude, what the hell?" Travis muttered. The old man took another step back, still staring. "Dude, what do you want?" I asked louder. Nothing. He just kept backing away slowly towards the tree line. Never blinking, never turning his head. Travis picked up a rock from the dock and threw it at him. "Yo, get out of here, you creep!" Travis said. The old man kept backing away, step by step, like he was trying to keep distance between us. He didn't turn around, he just kept slowly backing away into the darkness. Eyes locked on us the entire time, and then he slowly disappeared. Something about that did not feel normal at all. It was like a horror movie. "Man, screw that guy," I said. Travis grabbed his rod and started reeling his line. "Yeah, we're not dealing with this fucking shit tonight," he said. I nodded. Neither one of us said it out loud, but we were just very unsettled. And as we packed up our gear, I glanced back towards the tree line. The old man was gone, just darkness, no movement, no sound. We walked back to the truck quickly, but the engine wouldn't start. He turned the key, click, still nothing. He frowned and tried again. Click, still nothing. "Seriously?" Travis muttered. "What?" I asked. "The truck won't start," he said. "Battery dead?" I said. "I don't know, it's something, I don't know." He tried again. Click, the engine still would not start. He sighed and popped open the hood. "Hold on, man," he said, getting out of the car. We both stepped out and walked to the front of the truck. Travis lifted the hood and started checking the battery cables. "Maybe it came loose," he said. The woods around us felt strangely quiet. Too quiet, then I heard something behind us. Footsteps, slow ones, crunching softly in the gravel. I turned around, and my heart nearly stopped. The old man was much closer now, right behind us. Maybe about 20 feet away. But this time he was holding something. A long metal object hanging loosely in his hand. It looked like some kind of old rusted machete. Travis noticed my expression and turned around. "What the?" he said. He immediately stepped away from the truck. "Alright, what the hell is your deal, man?" Travis shouted. But the old man still did not respond. He just stared at us menacingly. And then he started walking forward. Slowly, like he wasn't in no hurry at all. "What the hell do you want?" I yelled. No response. The man just kept walking towards us, with the machete hanging at his side. Travis laughed nervously. "Oh, okay, so you want to play games, huh?" He grabbed a wrench from the open hood of the trunk and held it up. "You better stop right there." But the old man didn't stop. He didn't react. He just kept walking towards us. His eyes locked onto us the entire time, not blinking, not angry, just empty. Both of us slowly took a step back. So I grabbed Travis's arm and I said, "Let's go." "Yeah," he said quickly. We slowly started backing away from the truck towards the woods on the opposite side of the clearing. The old man followed, same pace, slow, relentless, not saying a word. The machete still hanging loosely in his hand. "Back up, man," Travis yelled. The old man didn't respond. He didn't stop, he just kept walking forward. Then that's when Travis said quietly, "Okay, we gotta get the fuck out of here, run!" We both turned and bolted towards the trees. Branches slapped against my arms as we ran through the woods. Leaves crunching under our feet. Neither one of us looked back, we just ran deep into the darkness, away from the lake, away from the truck, and away from that crazy old bastard. We crouched down behind a cluster of thick bushes, barely able to breathe. The footsteps were right behind us. The old man was moving through the trees, searching, but he still wasn't running, just still moving with that same slow, deliberate pace we saw back at the truck. Travis leaned in so close and whispered something so quietly I almost didn't even hear him. "Don't move." The footsteps stopped, and for a moment there was nothing, just silence. He was closer than we thought. The sound of leaves shifting told us he was moving again, but this time he was moving side to side, like he was scanning the woods, looking for us. And every step sounded louder than the last. And at one point I thought he was about to walk directly toward our hiding spot. But instead the footsteps drifted farther to the left and then farther deep into the woods. Travis and I didn't move. We stayed crouched behind the bushes for what felt like forever. And eventually the sounds began to fade. The snapping branches grew distant. And then even more distant until finally there was nothing. Just the quiet forest again. Travis waited another minute before whispering. "Do you hear anything?" He said. "I think he's gone," I said. We slowly stood up, both of us scanning the dark woods around us. My legs were still shaking. "That dude is insane," Travis muttered. We both looked back towards the direction of the lake. Somewhere out there was Travis's truck and our fishing gear, but neither one of us had any interest in going back there. Not tonight. "Man, screw that truck," Travis said. "Are you serious?" I asked. "Yeah, I'm not going back over there. We'll come back for it tomorrow," he said. Honestly, I didn't argue. The thought of walking back over to that truck with that old man possibly still around made my stomach twist. "Alright," I said. We both knew the road from the lake eventually connected back towards the main highway. It would be a long walk, miles, but at least it would get us away from the woods. We carefully made our way through the trees until we reached the road again. The night felt colder now, darker. Travis looked back towards the direction of the lake. "You think he's still out there?" he asked. "I don't know," I said. Neither one of us said what we were both thinking. "Alright, tomorrow morning, I'm gonna grab the truck and I'm gonna get the hell out of there." "Yeah," I said. We walked for miles that night, through empty roads and quiet neighborhoods. Eventually, we split off near Travis's street. "Text me when you get home," he said. "I will." By the time I finally reached the house that night, my legs felt like they were about to give out. Walking miles after running through the woods will do that to you. My clothes were dirty, my arms had scratches all over them from branches, and overall, I was just tired as hell. The first thing I did when I got inside was lock the door. Then I checked the windows. I normally didn't do that, but after what happened at the lake, I wasn't taking no chances. Once everything looked clear, I grabbed my phone and I texted Travis. "Hey, I made it home," I said. A few seconds later, he replied, "That dude was insane." I sat down on the couch and rubbed my face. "Yeah, we got lucky," I text back. Travis called me instead of texting. "So you think he followed us?" he asked immediately. "I don't know, but he definitely wasn't normal," I said. "Man, when he started walking towards us with that machete, I thought we were done for," he said. "Yeah, same here," I said. There was a short silence, and then Travis said, "I'm going back to the lake tomorrow to get my truck." "You sure that's a good idea?" I asked. "I mean, it'll be daylight. If that guy is still around, I'll just call the cops," he said. I thought about it for a moment and just said, "Alright, just let me know what happens." "Yeah, no worries," he said. After a few more minutes of talking, we hung up. I was exhausted, so I locked the doors one more time, turned off the lights, and went to bed. I must have been asleep for a couple of hours when something woke me up. At first, I thought I was dreaming, and then I heard it again. A tapping sound. A small sound against my window. I opened my eyes, and I sat up, and for a moment everything was quiet, and then it happened again. Another tapping sound. My heart immediately started beating faster. I slowly got up out of bed and walked towards the window. The room was dark, except for maybe a little moonlight coming through the curtains. Another rock hit the glass. "Hello?" I called out. No answer. I pulled the curtain back slightly, and my stomach dropped, because standing in my yard, just a few feet away from the window, was the old man. Same overall, same hat, the same blank expression. He was just staring directly at me, not smiling, not blinking, just standing there in the darkness, watching. My heart started pounding. "What the hell are you doing here?" I shouted through the window. The old man didn't answer, didn't react, just kept staring. "You better get off my property," I yelled. "I'm serious." Still nothing. The man stood there for maybe another few seconds. And then slowly he turned around and began walking away. Not running, not rushing. Just calmly walking towards the tree line behind my house. Within seconds, the darkness swallowed him, and he was gone. I didn't sleep much after that. A few days later, we heard something from a couple of people around town. Apparently, a fisherman had gone missing a few weeks back before all of this. Last seen near Blackwater Lake. No body, no boat, nothing. The police searched the area for a couple of days and eventually just called it a missing persons case. And that's when everything just made a lot more sense. That man at the lake, the way he watched us, the machete, the questions he kept asking, we were lucky. Very lucky, because that night in the woods, things could have gone very differently. And one thing that still bothers me, Sometimes late at night, when everything is quiet, I still find myself looking out that window, half expecting to see a figure standing in the yard, watching me. Because Travis and I both knew one thing for sure. That man is still out there somewhere. And if you ever find yourself fishing at a quiet lake late at night, and if you see somebody standing in the trees watching you, you should probably get your ass up out of there immediately.